What's your everybody? It's King here. Hope you guys are having a great day. Welcome to the 50K view video, aka, if in case you guys didn't know, we hit 50,000 views on the channel. I have 138 subscribers. I'm pushing to over a K vids. I have 700 and something, views multiple times over coming in as a whole. But in the matter for, the views as a whole when it comes down to the channel is in truth 50K, as you guys can see in the case when it comes down to the channel in question. As again, I have 138 subscribers. I have 772 videos as a whole as well. And as you guys see, when it comes down to the case of the views, I have 50,709 views. It is not only a great accomplishment to hit this many views without having to obviously be the most big poppin', I guess, YouTuber in the review, what is being said. Never had that much case of views in Grand Circle, but as a whole, man has done a lot to not only get some daily viewers, watchers, consistency, constant viewing and interest. And I'm very happy to not only be going through different splurge of interesting form of content, to be going through different routes and things in my life, and just trying to always stay blessed, you know what I'm saying? All power and praise to God, you know what I'm saying? My Savior, Jesus Christ. Thank you for everything that you've done. As a matter of scripture, through God, anything is reachable. With that guidance, my will and mind will be invincible. Still very profound, not only quote, but as well, thing to stand by for me when it comes down to when I said it. Bring again, April 13th to 25. But I appreciate not only all of you guys for watching. I have a lot of plans going further from this, but as well, I have a very interesting case of video here. With this video, as I just want to go and do a video as a great fun big stream or a bunch of different collateral events, I feel like it's a little bit too oversaturated now and a little bit too big in planning and a little bit too disappointing in some different executions. It's not only for me to be explaining some things, reviewing some things to the channel, reading some comments, and in the end, I'm going to be showing a little bit of some of my different creative ideas and plans in mind for eventual videos that I will do, and announcing some different videos that I still want to push to go about doing that at face value might seem not like possible. But again, appreciate you guys for watching. If you're new here, please leave a like, share, subscribe, comment, hit the bell icon down below. Really help me out. Also check out the Twitch at King21851. If you have any questions or possibly disagreements with me on anything that I talk about and or do on the channel, please hit on my Discord, RPKing3124. We're gonna have a cohesive, cool, cordial, debate or whatever talk. But besides the point, with that being said, again, I appreciate all you guys for all the views, the support, the consistent watching, and yeah, I'm glad to go and have this channel. Got Big Queen Maeve as a profile picture. Dope things is being said. Now, I'm going to read comments. Now, I've read comments by the back. This is going to be the newest form of comments that's in the general status for, doing reading across the board for obviously different most recent videos that is being said, or at least just recent comments. So, yeah. First one being at Duck8602 on my One Wifey Parentheses 225 remastered video, which is obviously tied to the Big Samurai series, aka the Big Samurai soundtrack. You put peak, appreciate that. It's sincere. Some people, like my music in a more like indirect sense because I hear it, but I don't know how true that is in every case situation. Don't need it to say I appreciate obviously, the love and all that, but since some people might say they like your different style of art and not always actually like full mean it, and maybe this person doesn't. I don't want to go ahead and get on like a form of like sense of too overly self-conscious and self-minded perspective with that. Again, I say, but thanks to that person, is just interesting. But the next comment is obviously on my Why Captain America First Master Chief is in debate video, and this guy at Billy Bolson 2830 said, I've come to realize that gamers have some of the worst scalers imaginable. I don't know what he really means by that. I just liked it because not only do I think his profile picture is funny because it's Stephen Young from The Walking Dead, but as well, it's just an interesting comment to say the least. But if I had to try to go about inferring what he means by that in greater form, I think simply put, it would just be saying either that video games have bad scalers, or video gamers, or in this sense, a gamer like me is not only a bad scaler, or some sentiment of like how to scale things in different broad case of video games don't make sense. I don't know, because gamers are already tied to video games, but in this sense, just saying about gamers or greater form of like video sense gamers are not actually, good people to constitute things, which if that's the case, then Alright, yeah, that's his opinion. That being said, I don't have much to say from that. Again, that's why I'm inferring. That's just, my face value opinion of it. I don't actually have anything to constitute that, and I really don't care too much. It wouldn't invalidate what I actually provided in, reasoning. And if you are one of the people that disagree with this video or any other, right, you can debate me, or you keep just leaving whatever case of, comments of your opinion. At the end of the day, I can't control you, and, hey, I respect people who hold down their opinion regardless of I disagree with them. It also helps with the algorithm, which a lot of people don't get, but that's besides the point. Anyway, moving on. At Friendly Mancy 606, I won't watch this because one, this isn't even proper English. Two, when he says this, obviously in truth and just face value knowledge, some people that do try to debate it right at first cast, this really shouldn't be fair, and this obviously is, again, like in the case of my last video, another versus battle, and obviously within the title here on the right, why Ryan vs. Cowcats is a mismatch, but it's the way this person typed it. I kind of like the profile picture as well, even though I can barely even tell what it is if I can't even see it greater from here. Go directly to YouTube, Friendly Man, subscribers. Those are from plushie Bumblebee, which maybe it can be, but I don't know what that backside is supposed to be. Kind of look a little bit sus. But then he put in parentheses, coughing baby first hydrogen bomb, I will, in parentheses. And I put, you could say that with a lot of characters for Star Wars characters overall. It's unfortunate you won't watch it. Because it was damn, unfortunately you won't watch it just because of the fact that, it's unfair matchup or whatever. But then he also replied saying, I won't watch it because I'm in a random hospital in Egypt, parentheses, and my phone is dying, parentheses. Oh, I think he did watch the rest of the case of the video, or whatever the case of whatever he did fully watch, right? And I hope that whatever reason he was in the hospital, that he's okay, because even my man Visa is valid. Talk to me about this, and it's kind of just random. But again, I hope the dude's okay, and obviously, his health or what the heck's going on, is way more important than my video. I mainly said that in a joke fashion, because again, it's unfortunate I won't watch it, because I do think the video is very dope, especially as my video, the first part, my greater case of greater in depth, already pursuing grand scope knowledge about Star Wars. And as well, the fact of the matter is that even if you think that it is a quote unquote unfair matchup, there's still very much a bunch of interest to come from it. So I feel a little bit young. By the time I'm going by recording this for DKV video, it is a little bit late, not too dummy late with this being said, but again, just the most, concisely speak, even though, again, you could say it makes unfair with some different videos that I don't do it intentionally just to dump a bunch of not only way radically wild shit in comparison to another fictional character, because at face value, there's a lot of arguments, like what I just put in, joke sense, that if you compare a lot of different mixed Star Wars characters, they can be undoubtedly way too unfair for another, but I don't do that in full attention. And to be fair, there are different cases, different, not the most big, but kind of similar to different argumentation that some people could try to make at face value about another case of person, and some people do lowball some Star Wars characters, and it really depends on, who you're talking about. Ignorance is bliss a lot of time, so, it is what it is. But again, like I said, no repetition, not to be on this too long. Again, like I said, you could say that with a lot of characters for Star Wars characters, so again, it's not the biggest deal to do such, but that's the point. Next comment is on my Sigma is that the most powerful Overwatch character, parentheses with proof in parentheses. This is at MemeBis, who has this iconic case of profile picture with this fucking paper clip, which is always just funny to go ahead and not only peek, right? Because of just how goofy it looks, but as well wholesome. It's kind of like the different people that have the profile picture of the chill guy, who to me is just the epitome of how Val would look if he had a no-brain yard. But joke aside though, right? He said, I don't know why this is recommended to me, but might watch it later. Just cool, but put good deal of not only cogent, substantial, strong evidence, and as well clarification of a lot of things in this vid. So if you haven't watched that vid and you were curious why, very much truth, Sigma is not the most powerful Overwatch character. Please go check that out. Anyway, his next comment is involving greater deal of stuff, but is on my ranking the incredible universe from weakest to strongest. This is at Taylor-B1P6. Well, there's supposed to be L. Not only is this man named Norfolk, obviously it's the Gmail behind the case of your already YouTube account name, but why does he sound like some type of abbreviation for some android or some bot in Star Wars, bro? Taylor B1B6L. It's kind of funny. Yo, but when we dropping more For Honor vids, I mean, in the sense of RPs, trailers, anything of that sort, one might be coming out. No, might be coming, persevering, but not a whole lot. Two, maybe some, and I might do some, but not any too huge. Kind of some weird to read at face value. Because, like, obviously, no, it's perfect with the grammar, but I don't know, like, in a different sentencing, that's not entirely wrong to type, but saying two, maybe some, but not many, and I might do some, but not any too huge, right? But then he obviously replied, I meant those RPs when we were all demigods and skilled fighters. I don't even know who you are, but if you were one of the people in those series, I can't put all the rest of the series because Multiverse Beyond and others got hacked, so I don't have them anymore. It's also the fact that those series and events died out as the series went on, and the final bout was posted here on YouTube anyway. Bro, dang, bro. So I was that kid, and there was a ultimate version of King Order. Demon alternate, but still. But yeah, I mean, for you guys that can't fully take in what I was trying to go and type out to the brother there, right? So if I say, so you put, I cannot put out the rest of the case of Multiverse Beyond, not only because a great deal catalog of all my different RPs over years upon years got unfortunately hacked and taken. Now the data, no longer was in the sense of encrypted and just got dispersed, but that was just a loss. A great deal of that stuff is either not the best quality, entirely just kind of died out, so because a bunch of behind the scenes stuff happened to where it didn't come out the full way that I wanted. A bunch of just scheduling stuff with people, a few people who I'm not friends with no more, that was way after the fact, but just kind of the fact that, I'm gonna be honest, I don't want to kind of upload a lot of stuff that involves people who, one of them more strongly I dislike, but I don't really want to be associated with no more. As you guys know, on a more public sense, I don't associate with Clips 101 no more. I kind of already briefly explained without going into full detail, but as well insinuated in that diss I made about fakes. But suffice to say, just to simply say, I don't like Clips 101 because I feel like he's a very not only bum of a friend, but as well just said very much a bunch of different disrespectful stuff and switched up in a way that to me, I just can't respect. And another person being a guy named Jensen Murph, who I think is nothing but a horrid, not only individual to have a conversation with because it'll give you a brain aneurysm, but is the most dubious, delirious, delusional fuck nigga that I've met in a minute, and I just do not want to mess with him. He's the biggest smile of it. like I can't even say it because it sounds fucked up, but I feel like he's the biggest smiling twat when he sounds like sometimes the most entirely persistent, idiotic numbskull. And I don't know if it's mental issues or not. I'm not gonna make fun of anybody for that, but sometimes when you talk to him, it don't feel like you're talking to a real person. I'm gonna be honest, and I just don't associate with him. I don't fuck with him. I think he has a lot of abhorrent, talk that he does, and I think he's just a fake person as well. Fuck that fat nigga. I just don't like him. I don't want to get all negative here, but he's got a lot of things that shouldn't be said considerably online, and it's very negative, and I don't like to have myself be very much hard stained by negative stuff. And it's not even the biggest deal. This is way too old news. I mean, this stuff was 2 weeks ago, and even typing. But anyway, moving on to the next case of videos, is all tied to my shameless plug on the bottom right. Hulk vs. Kratos, Battle of Avenger vs. God, which is pushing to be equal to 500 views by the last time I checked. So not only do I appreciate all y'all for watching that, but it's one of the most infamous, famous, and liked videos, and to me, it's easily one of the best videos I've done, one of the most passionate things. Love both of the characters, especially the green jolly giant, Hulk himself. So that's dope. Glad to be over here, peering through a great deal of the algorithm. Possibly this video in the grand feature will probably get over a K views, and if you guys get that to a K, I could possibly do something in the celebration. Yeah, I'm very glad it's pushing at 500 views. Besides that though, next is Rahul Mini 2419, if I'm even saying his name right. This mic will work very well for meme edit voiceovers. Kind of funny comment, not gonna lie. But in this guy at Mr. Voldrum, get a better mic and I'll watch. I'm sorry, I was very much confused on how my mic was bad. I don't even have an example be shown of what it really means, but I made a little joke here, obviously in reference being crazy. And then he typed in comparison, I genuinely want to watch this. I'm just having a hard time with the audio. It's not offense, it's genuine advice and suggestion. And then I typed back, really understanding it, but trying to understand the problem because I listened to it again. I mean, it sounds fine to me. Either it's your volume or put in subtitles. and I wasn't trying to say that in a disrespectful form. It's just I was very much confused. It's got a lot of crackling background, but okay, I was just trying to help. And then I was even more confused, saying, no, it doesn't. If you genuinely hear that, I think that's you. I've rewatched it now 2 times, and I hear it perfectly fine from the intro to the end. Please provide a timestamp for it. Also, it's one thing if you want to help, but if you have no example and nothing else to say, then don't even comment or watch it. Now, I'm not going to lie, looking back, that might come off maybe partially mid-passive aggressive, but I wasn't trying to type it like that. I was more just trying to address the fact that, like, not only are you just saying it's like that, but I feel like, especially because I have more likes and just, like, I haven't even gotten this, like, a great deal of most of my videos. Granted, it doesn't disperse flaws or take away that there could maybe be a problem or argument that not everybody likes them, right? Like, for instance, I like pushing to 500 or maybe 500 views by the time I'm making this vid, and with a bunch of other vids, and I don't have the most insatiably wild back-to-back run of likes or whatever, or you could have way more views and not as much likes, because not everybody likes a video and not everybody subscribes to a channel, a back-to-back watch, even though I have more people subscribe than unsubscribe last time I checked, which is a dope thing, because some YouTubers don't always have that, not to like brag or flex, but I can definitely understand that. I could consider it how better, I guess, like, type that. But there is the truth of the matter that this guy did not really have a greater reason, and after I go through this part of the comment section, I'm gonna peek back at that video, and I think I can cross-section to the cases like talking about my channel at base end, and then we'll pop back to comments, because I don't want this to be another reviewing comments or, you know, reading comments type of thing, where in this case, like, I'm just taking in what I have to say in a very great form, right? But yeah, there's some other people, like this guy at Sergeant Gorilla Glue, it's funny, man, saying, no offense, but I hear it too. No timestamps though. Then another person at Daniel Bay-HM4ZO, man, says, yeah, I hear the crackling too. Again, I don't really get what they mean. I kind of could understand what they mean when I agree for the video, but I'll talk about that in a minute. Then Road Hit Minute comes back and says, homie, that might peak in like MCU in the 2010s, which is pretty funny, not gonna lie, but again, no timestamp. And then he just keeps saying thank you back to people, right? And then he says, I have many agreements now, so, and then I still type, can any of you give me a timestamp for any of this? Because I hear nothing of that sort, lol. And I'm really generally not trying to be not only delusional and or dishonest, I just generally don't hear it, and other people as well say the same thing. Now, is the intro loud? Yeah, but I kind of made that clear and played into it, and I just feel like if you just watch the rest and you go beyond that, it's not really that deep. I mean, I wouldn't even argue objectively it really ain't that deep as like from a flaw, to say the least, but again, still, when he says the whole thing, bro, and I'm taking that insinuates the whole video, and then I say that's not a good showing of it, as the only time I could think what you're saying is happening is at the start of the vid with the ear grape, but besides that, all I see is you and the rest of the comment section just saying it's bad, which maybe it is, but you're not giving a problem. It's a little thing in the video, and I don't see why it's a big deal. Also, never got a timestamp, lol. Then he says, I can't timestamp because it starts at the beginning of the video and goes minutes in, and I just can't deal with it. I don't see what's so hard to understand. Again, personal preference, but I just don't, again, see how, in any sense of the way, that's a hard A disruption of, like, hearing, visual taking, and, again, you could put in subtitles. I mean, if it's that genuinely, like, hard to take that in at that point, you could do that. Obviously, I would like to say most powerfully that you shouldn't really need subtitles to watch a core video that's in the language you understand, a video of your free time, especially if you're a person like me that likes to, you know, eat while watching YouTube, you know, the epitome of the biggest relaxation, you know, vibes only, like timing. I understand that, but if it's that hard, I just feel like you need to either make that a lot more understandable and then direct, and do that yourself. You feel what I'm saying? But again, to keep reading, it's so hard because you don't make that clear until now, and I'm watching as I type, by the way, so I don't hear anything besides it being loud. If you actually watch it, you get past the loudness and watch a productive video with actual stuff in it that is more than a damn mic nitpick. If you can't handle the intro being intentionally loud or booming with sound, then to find someone's whole mic quality is that you not only have no room to talk because you didn't watch the whole vid and pointed to one thing, but I feel like it's just dumb in argumentation. I'm done with this. Enjoy the vid. Don't really get them at this point. Have a safe and joyous day though. And I wasn't really much hard pressed, like, I know, even though I did feel a little bit of like disgruntled, like, I don't know, I guess you could say in the long run a little bit of a noise. Not like whole angry, aggro, or whatever, but I have got like a mix, kind of not most persistent, but I kind of mix kind of more or less here and there off. Not like a back to back, especially like in like the past, I don't know, multiple months, maybe a year and a half. But it has been some different points a rapid thing where somebody would try to say, oh, my mic needs this, your mic's bad, someone will try to critique this, somebody will say that my mic quality is to the best degree, and I have a soft tone voice at core, right? Sometimes I speak very fast, I have sometimes a lot of mix in my throat because of the fact of me speaking very, very healthy fast. I also don't think it's in any sense of the way tied with my mic being that as well. It's just sometimes some things that I might want to say, somebody might feel I don't fully say the most audibly. I try to speak the most fully and passionate. I feel like I'm a lot more audible in the case of my videos. Now I feel like I've fixed any possible mic issues you guys could think of. With not only having my mic a lot more strong closer, advancing sound, doing a lot of editing, mixing up, making sure the music in the background I put in the videos, which is not played in the background, it's inserted in the background, right? To best construct things the best way that it is, because maybe that might be a problem too, because sometimes I just throw music in there and I don't even think about, hey yo, is this too loud, stuff like that. So I just hope that I've cleared more or less in most consistent sense most of my videos, that not only I can be very audible, sensible, and sound in my direction, my course, my flow. I like to say I'm a very, articulate, concrete, cool dude, and I'm speaking here with barely even a sense of a stutter, and greater deal of what I say. And again, pushing to get to these views, pushing to get these likes, doing all this record shit. My boy, my homies, my family usually watch all my vids and they like them and they get out there. I mean, I have a positive record for that. I just don't really see where the problem is. Now, granted, because this is obviously the largest amount of a, convo on a video, no one's even talking about their opinion if they disagree with me, talking about goat haul, goat credit, like no one's just speaking about the vid. I probably will never do that type of intro again, and if I do, I'm going to make it very clear that it's for jokes. But again, I'll show the intro. I just don't really see how it's that big of a deal. You feel what I'm saying? But again, besides that, at Alvin Alexander Lynn, to be honest, I can hear his mic perfectly fine. I don't know what you're on. And then he comes back and technically full backtrack saying, I hear it too. I didn't say I couldn't. It's technically a contradiction because like you basically said that you can't stand it, like not even that you can't hear it from general audibleness, but just like pulling back on the fact that you couldn't hear it at all in a good sense. But then at Morg one, I'm saying the name right because it's not even from one name. No, it's a phone, bro. It's not finding me. But besides those comments, the actual like video that's now in the case of my bass and Pete video, which at this point has 497 views, right? All for his cradles, battle revenge for his God. We're gonna peek the intro here.
Force, a bringer of demise to any person that comes their way. People that went through trauma and became triumphant pillars of rage, wrath, justice. Went from monster to hero, the green to Carson, the green king, world breaker, pillar of not only strength, but as well a mighty avenger, the green machine, and easily is the mightiest avenger in force and power, the ghost of Sparta, the god of war, god of hope, father, slayer, destroyer, dominator, true, and most importantly, a destroyer of not only the greatest odds, two people that stand 10 toes in the face of death. Hulk versus Kratos, battle of the crash outs. As you see in today's...
That's enough for this. Obviously, it's obvious. It is very much loud. It does have a very bombastic, stereotypical, maybe PlayStation or Xbox 360 party chat like sound. And I am very much into my mic, which kind of sounds like a mixed repetition. I'm very much in the case of that. It's not entirely wrong, because like it just like preset mix saying, because it kind of sounded the most really you wouldn't hear that. Again, I'm very much in my mic a lot, and much of my case of speaking with no repetition is highly bombastic, passionate. I'm not just clogging my mouth with my mic. I'm not deep throating. I'm not giving it the double hand twisty, no fucking bell to fiend, right? was just basically being very passionate in the mic and providing like a kind of jokes, the kind of meme token of speaking. So that's kind of just where this comes from. You heard? But I mean, I just hope that kind of clears that. But again, peak video, right? From editing, video form, right? A bunch of different content that I'm not only proud of making. This is one of my favorite videos I made recently. Again, my shameless plug. Watch Spider-Man vs. Darth Maul is a complete mismatch. I really like it. I like how I did it, was being said. And my man, Val, mess with it. Very cool shit, right? I had a lot of, time and effort put into these videos to make them be the best things they are. Pushing possibly to 300 views with this video, being a rematch type thing. There's a lot of things I want to say. Not only have I not, changed a great deal of core, my opinions evolve in the case of a lot of different tier lists, right? But I still stand very firmly within the time and place, and even still in a lot of core of my, stance with the case of power scan or other aspect of shit. That this in this video adds up and still makes sense. Still very much crazy that the case of my ranking all the Elden Rings Panther from Week Strongest video in my second to third version of the Elden Ring tier list is still very much highly popular. Then you have my Amazing Spider-Man intro, which changed now drastically in feeling to me. Not only because of the fact that the Davis situation is just fucking crazy, but it's the only vid of mine that actually has an ad. So that's kind of crazy with this being said. But I just want to go ahead and have the intro playing. I don't know if I'm going to get copyright for this because I'm not copyrighting this intro. If I do, it is what it is. But to be fair, getting copyrighted by some company behind the case of a serial killer possibly and or fucking pedo is crazy. Like, he's not doing King Von shit, but it's the fact that this motherfucker possibly in every aspect of his music representation seemed like the ultimate wrecking of like a DVD killer. The type of nigga that would be like on the trickster activity from DVD. Besides that, separating art from the artist is very much a very strong thing. And I do think it is a defined intro. Such a peak singer, man. If he didn't move the way he did, bro. Sheesh. Tones. Again, big intro, love how it is, love every aspect of it, but it's very much going to be a big kind of like weird thing to think about in the grand scope of obviously a lot of my videos, but whatever popular videos, whatever they are, and as well, glad that a lot of y'all like them, especially like my debunking the arguments of Chris or Astra video, vid. I'm not even care of the series, came to go and peek into some more shit, could do some even editing here in the case of the vid. But here to go and go back to reading these comments. Next vid is being why Leon versus Crane isn't close. With this guy being at Skirth, being what game did you play at 2305? Far Cry 3 go to game. Hopefully be interesting peeking to go to game from there. Then next is my why start Squadron Down versus Cells not close video. With a guy being at potential X hero. Being good comparisons between the two. I do wonder if DLC Radon would have an easier time or not with him, but in that case, for fairness, you probably have to also include Cell from Super. Regardless, keep up the good work, my guy. Then I commented back, and obviously joking for him, being on community timing as another nerd, and obviously the YouTuber question created the video. Cell from Super is just straight cancer, LOL, but I appreciate it. I think a more fair matchup would be DLC Radon versus Xenoverse Dark Evil Cell. Could be an interesting vid, and that is the video that I did make. And obviously I told him if you're interested in a rematch, peep game. Which I just want to say, like in a joking form, this nigga VK Val, my friend, always now taking my different form of slang. I never heard this dude say peep game in his life, and now he taking my stuff. I feel like Unc now. But to be fair, I'm pushing up there at Unc age, I'm not gonna lie. It's because my birthday is like gonna be two big months after the case of 2026 coming to play, which is crazy. We're almost done with the year. This month been craziest motherfucking year ever, was being said. But yeah, pretty much I'm gonna come on to that. Anyway, admin is Strom 7507. He says on mine from his blog, why the time for the store is still not a debate video, right? Which is obviously a rematch case thing. From my obviously showing why the time for the store is not a debate, right? This dude says, I feel like Thor wouldn't be able to permanently kill the Tarnish, or the Tarnish would eventually wear Thor down. Plus, the Tarnish holds the concept of death in Malekith's Black Blade, which can physically kill anything. Yeah, but it doesn't bypass the case of different octane form of durability and other high margins, which is something I'm going to greater explain, kind of mix in my comment section. But the fact that, yes, Malekith, aka the Tarnish, do hold destined death, which exceptionally is a thing that is able to protrude past most different bygones of physical stuff and has the capability to kill a god, it doesn't change the fact that it doesn't entirely just destroy and atomize and disintegrate every constant of what makes a person who they are. So you're a high caliber form of diability. In the case of like someone like Thor, who in this sense is a dude of not only the most ridiculous durability, but destined death again does entirely destroy and full-fledged, I'm talking about Star-Lord level of just atomizing a person in such different fling of different mysticism of this sort, just push past somebody. As even though, yes, Malekith and the Tarnish been moving like a Sith Lord with it, they don't cut at the body just so easily akin to what a lightsaber HF blade would do. It just bypass the general physical bygone, something it does do damage. And I do believe Malekith's Black Blade would be of some harm to this man Thor. But there's every argument for the fact that Thor, depending on the mix upgrades, with Dropnir can produce Bifrost, and Bifrost does bypass durability in a way that I would say, on a physical note, is to the same degree as this man Malekith's Black Blade, obviously on different confines, as this man Kratos with using Bifrost is more weakening the body to put pressure and full fundamentally wear them down, while Destined Death obviously is supposed to go about purging you on a physical level and obviously bringing you death like never seen before, the type of thing that nobody could ever dare bypass. But again, when you're of a form of like high octane durable sense of duel, right, like this man Thor, you are entirely of different stand, and as a man with higher case of durability, more obviously, versatility and some different physical regard, and has a bunch of different array of things I talked about in this video and multiple times over. And I actually have a whole big in-depth Thor video that I plan to do, not only talking about his history in God of War, talking about my love of this character, talking about why he is one of, if not to me, the greatest version of Thor in all fiction, and definitely a pillar of might like never seen before. But to actually read my comment, I have Thor has better speed, feats, cosmology, durability as well. I mentioned how he could, which is hitting him so fast and powerful to the point he would hit him back in time before his own birth. Also, Malekith's Black Blade, while yes, it's technically conceptual erasure, it doesn't work like that in full spirit like Frenzied Flame. It again wouldn't hit him because of speed. Yet Frenzied Flame actually devours the spirit, while Destined Death more clears the physical mixed tale of like eternal standing. It just brings death to anybody. Now, just because it brings death to everybody does not mean it would entirely dissolve them of being. And Thor, unlike other mixed take of different gods in God of War, does have a very much physical killing capability that can happen, but I believe there's a greater argument to beat him by multiple different forms. But in this guy comes back saying the Tarnish can move outside of time, effectively giving him limitless speed. When they focused to the sacks, they were outside of time and the Tarnish was fine. Well, the thing is, it depends on how you define that more concretely. Yes, he would have limitless speed or unquantifiable speed, but there's different tiers of that. He fought outside of time on a plane that was simply a thing that is beyond the core foundation of time and the lands between. Sax and other people that scaled him or above would have the capability to distort time by existing and or in comparison with blows. He's beyond a 4D constellation and or configurement of existence and space. He does not outdo him in different form of speed because of that. You can argue immeasurable, but as I explained multiple times, it is a lot more concrete and definitive to see and accessible, because how he gets transported to the chasm beyond time is because being beyond time in a general mixed level is not on the same threshold as instantaneously immeasurable. As the difference is, suffice to say, inaccessible, you can exist in a plane devoid of time. Time is not the essence, or if time would be literally entirely full disposed of, but if time was being merged, time was being skipped, or time was having any sense of, disconfiguration or alteration and distortion that is on a reality warping scale, or is a form of thing that, simply put, gets transcended on a great ridiculous front. That's where it's at. The tarnish doesn't transcend time. Time is now the essence, and being beyond the case of mixed time on an aspect of different plane is where the difference is. As being said, beyond the fog, the thing that is in a chasm of time, or a being that exists beyond the general parameter of time, has a lot of different broad statements. It's the same thing with like a planet destroyer or a planet eater or something of that sort. It has to be a lot more concretely defined, and Thor scales multiple times the people are over that hold multiple forms of not only definitive feats and scaling chain that would then provide them with that. So that's what the difference is. He also says even the weapons that the tarnish use are upgraded with dragon scales. The final upgrade quite literally twists time. It doesn't twist time, it does distort time, but that would mean nothing to this man Thor, as it hits on a 4D plus scale form, so that's not actually an argument. Plus tarnish cannot die while Thor can give enough attempts. Okay, well, that doesn't really change anything. I mean, that's probably this bad grammar on his part, no offense, but yeah, the tarnish cannot die, but there's still ways. Thor has a way to not only put him out of commission multiple times, kill him more times than he would kill him, and then in full conclusion decimate his entire chances to come back and do anything. He technically has a form of battle for removal. He has multiple ways to take out the tarnish that would give argument for a win con. And then there's also the simple fact that who's going to kill more most of the time, Thor or the tarnish? And it's not like in his world where he narratively, it kind of just because he can, the nigga woke up and slaughtered half of the Pantheon, can just do that. Thor will multiple times body the tarnish before you can even quantify him. So, no. He says also, destined death is the concept of death. The reason it doesn't outright kill anyone it touches because of gameplay reasons. Well, it's not the same thing. Yes, it doesn't outright kill people in the same form as like an actual concrete conceptual or, durability negation thing because of gameplay, right? But just because it does that because of gameplay does not disperse the fact that how it's utilized, how it's said, and even for other people in comparison that fight against people that use it, it doesn't work like that. As it's never been shown and said to do the same thing, and destined death does not work like frenzied flame that does threaten spirits, does destroy conceptual beings, and does have multi-different array of shit that do constitute the argument for being such a disturbing, fully chaotic, undeniably pretty much worldly scale threatening that would entirely wreck the status quo of what makes all of the case of, the lands between itself be entirely atomized. And without repetition, because it's chaos personified, frenzied flame, right, is a thing that destroys all aspects of existence on a crazy scale and purifies death on a wicked regard, as it is incarnate of devastation, annihilation of everything. It can literally go about full means of devastation to the case of life and death, and exceeds all other form of outer gods as being the ultimate parasite and porridge of literal devastation, like I said, on all aspects of what makes the lands between itself be what it is, with destroying the earth tree, fueling chaos, and its existence being something out of the scope of, again, the case of the lands between its general echelon of things, means that it actually purifies a conceptual, fundamental, godly erasure record form of thing. It literally is a nuclear burst of the most, vile acid form of energy, which is why when we talk about chaos incarnate tarnish, he literally solidifies every nightmarish terror for the lands between beyond the record of destined death. As even though destined death, the black blade, is very feared, that is very much more strike upon with Malekith, who if you wielding it is a built different death sage like no other. I mean, the Hound of Queen America was a beast of the most highest hell proportions. So even if you want to argue, which I'm not silently denying, it does feel the same stance as mixed conceptual erasure. It does not work the same way as frenzied flame. If frenzied flame hits someone like this man Thor and was built up, or even arguably struck him with a great critical blow that could entirely scorch his soul and leave this man looking like a victim after the penance stare with Ghost Rider. That does not mean it works the same way as Destined Death, which more of anything physically disconfigures and or disposes of the body, being a form of pretty much as it is Destined Death, and it fuels and embeds death of a gripping harsh clench upon the body and slowly crunches on your being and leaves you Talib smoked paprika in the end. Because I could show a whole fight that you could have and other showcases where Destined Death was used for, which was to kill a god and was never said to be on the same level as others. Destined Death brings indefinite death, not Frenzied Flame that brings full frenzied flame of incineration and execution to the body. It's entirely different. But anyway, to read the case of his comment, okay, this is not the right speed term, as he only has the capability to move beyond finite time, or Thor's beyond time and space fundamentally, which is way higher than the Tarnish, so it's not even a correct understanding of the scaling. Also, no offense, he took 9 days to respond, as it is the case, he did take 9 days to respond. Thor can hit way beyond that scaling chain with the dragon scales, as I explained in vid. Yes, he can die, but in a way it's way too fast, powerful, and has a way better power. So that's what I thought, but no precept. It's like in like face value sense, you would think that's what I'm saying, and then core base, that is what I'm saying. Again, it's not going to get literal or whatever. That's what you would think you would say, because again, it's just preset reading. But anyway, to full-fledged reread, right? In this case, right, I said in vid, yes, he can die, but is way too fast. Powerful and has way better scaling record than the Tarnish, making him absolutely undefeatable by any means of the Tarnish, making Thor solo the Tarnish by any means, as he can't comprehend anything Thor throws at him. Please rewatch the vid or debate me on Discord. Destined Death doesn't one-shot anyone it touches by gameplay and by definition. It touches the core of your physical being, can decimate you on any aspects of physical, but not spiritual, as it doesn't threaten the spirit like Frenzied Flame or Death Rune. It also is only used to kill conceptual beings on physical levels, not eternally like how Frenzied Flame would, as that is shown in lore and in endings, even if you want to say that Thor is astronomically way more faster. Discourse RP King 224, and that goes for anyone else. Now for the big comment on my, again, shameless plug, like Captain America for his Master Chief is in debate video, which probably might push as well, 500 views as well. This guy at the General 1454 says, in a one-on-one fight, Cap with his shield and Chief with Cortana, I think Chief would have the edge, since Chief would have the tactical edge, but without Cortana, Chief has a harder time. Saying Cap is continental or planetary is a scalar fallacy. That is entirely wrong, but I'm not about to yap. I already did enough in the comment section. I'm greater explaining this because I feel like possibly my comment wouldn't greater in depth provide an answer, but obviously, since this is more of a recent mixtape comment, I already know what I have to say preemptively, but still, sure, he has gone up against gods and creatures of that scale, but rarely does he actually win those encounters, especially with sheer strength. Those encounters rely on tactics and help from others, otherwise he gets demolished. Chief can be taken now just as easily, but there are two things that Chief has in his corner, Cortana and the fact he canonically is lucky. Those two things may be enough to get an edge. So I comment mainly in response to the whole fallacy thing and trying to defeat what I'm saying in a way that's entirely misunderstanding the grand scope point that I was trying to make. Especially because the lowest thing you could put Cap at just outscales this man Master Chief. And I just want to say for the record, without putting you on another fucking, skippable cutscene, without going on the whole hyper monologue Dragon Ball style, my friend that's still possibly in the party of my Xbox Live party has disagreed with me kind of makes valiantly on this battle. But I will say this any other time, and actually my party whole disconnected, so that's kind of crazy what is being said. It is what it is. I was going to actually articulate the fact of the matter is that if you or anyone else disagrees with any of the vids in question that I do or I make, you can very much go out your way to comment why in the comment section. But if you really want to change my mind or have a cohesive, interesting debate, my Discord is RPK324. I have proved multiple times, not only in the video, in this comment section, other vids, multiple other cases channels have went out their way to provide that perspective, and as well have explained multiple times very courteously to my friend in question why Cap has every reason to absolutely body, fodder, and full-fledged, uncomparably, unparalleledly, in every sense of the way, decisively, most of the time consistently, batter in Master Chief and split his head off like Kung Lao in the Grand Scope End. He's going to crush this man, Master Chief, and in every sense of the way, because in comparison to his verse, could crack this man, Master Chief, into next week and make him look like a literal dumpster after he's done. It's not even close. And I can play clips to the video, but you could just watch the video, or you can come debate me and we can greater, put into perspective that in a better, sensible way. But anyway, in my comment, I say, saying Cap is continent to the planetary isn't a quote-unquote scalar fallacy, unquote. That's not even what that means or is a thing. I explained it so many ways why saying Cap is those levels is way more consistent than anything Master Chief does. He faced characters that are on those same criteria without help and prep time. Every showing has shown is way beyond that, and as well, like I said, consistently proven. As well, he has way better speed feats, so look, who is it going to help him and even that out? If you really want to prove this to me is true or discuss greater, please head to my Discord at RPK3134, right? So for that a little bit, in this case, but again, like I said, within this, right, he has way more better speed feats than him, so it wouldn't really change anything. So again, that point doesn't really make any sense. But then he has this long-ass comment that I'm still willing to go about reading. But still, so you're telling me Cap can blow up or lift the continent or planet? That's not what that means. But still, that is what it means to be at those levels, Cap. Cap is explicitly a street-tier hero that hits above his pay grade. He leads a team. He's able to go toe-to-toe with people like the Hulk because he has spent years fighting alongside him. Not every time the case, but again, I never scaled him too hard. As well as most other Avengers. Also, Mitch Cortana won't be of help. How so? We have seen Cap get demolished when someone can calculate what he is doing, what he's going to do before he does it. It's not entirely whole true. Right, again, gotta explain that, right? Give the man thought he was saying something else, but no, he said what he's going to do before he does it, right? Because again, it's pretty simple. Thanks for being arguably like not the most formal case of like English, it's not like illiterate speaking from him. That is why I said having an AI is a significant advantage. Sorry, so I'm gonna throw a pause in the D. And unless Cap can move at speeds faster than light, which I did prove, he isn't escaping that. And when I said quote-unquote scalar fallacy, unquote, that is because more often than not, people scale a character at their highest moments, or at moments, for instance, like this, quote-unquote, oh, he punched the Hulk, that means he's the strongest, unquote. Or, quote-unquote, he survived Dormammu, that means he's just as powerful, unquote. I didn't say any of that, but still, it is an assumption that it is at odds with how a character usually is at standard. Never said Cap will lose, only that Chief has specific advantages where it matters. Cap's shield is good, but the armor that Chief wears with him inside it can allow him to lift tanks like a breeze. Has functions like armor lock and durability feats, such as crashing down from re-entry. That doesn't match anything that this man Cap has done, but still, the fight is a lot closer than you think. It's not. Sure, Cap has great showings, but would you say he is more powerful than Iron Man, Hulk, Thor, etc.? No, he is not. He can go toe-to-toe because he is a GOAT, but more often than not, he loses against them. He has will, so does Chief. You also forgot to count the variety of weapons Chief has disposed. That's not true at all. Sure, guns and lasers are nothing new for Cap, but they also allow Chief to move more versatile than Cap with a shield. Entirely not true. This is where my comments entirely goes whole search and simulator on debunking this. Hashtag 1. Cap doesn't need to lift up a continent or planet, lol. That's not how that works, lol. Do you actually know what being continental to planetary means? It's about how hard you hit and what you scale to, not how much you can lift. This is a fight, not a weightlifting contest, so that point is void. You need to understand how scaling works before you say that. Hashtag 2. Yes, he spent a great deal of time fighting alongside people and understands fighting maybe better than them, but it doesn't change him being able to hurt and or fight people as well consistently to hit on those same levels. So it's not an argument, and as well wouldn't say anything different. If he hurts people with greater scale than him, he could take blows from them, survive their attacks, and so on. That will conclude he can somewhat stand up to them, even if he's not directly as strong. So again, not actually a full-fledged disproof against that. Plus, multiple street-tier characters do that in Marvel, DC, Image, and others, so that's irrelevant. Hashtag 3. Cap hasn't been demolished when someone can calculate what he is doing. He gets trouble, yes, but demolishes his entire over-exaggeration when he fights Taskmaster. He does pretty admirable, and that's the fight they beat him in the fight, so that's wrong, and others that he scales to. and or has fault tasks, he can fight and or beat. So you're wrong there, and I can prove that if you actually debate me on Discord. Hashtag 4, Cap fights people like Spider-Man, Wolverine, keeps the Avengers, outspeeds Hercules, and others as well. So that's easy to say he is faster than the speed of light because of times. Please actually read the comic books. Hashtag 5. I never said he's as powerful as Hulk or any other person. The literally verbatim says this. Did you watch it all the way? Question mark. Because all I said was he keeps up with them, can survive attacks from them, and doesn't get squashed like Chief would. So that's not what I did or what the fallacy would be. I scaled him to the bare minimum scaling that he could reasonably be. Even if you don't want to take that, he would scale multiple times higher than this man. You need to provide evidence that you would be able to hurt Cap without true. Oh, hold up. Okay. So mix reading back to back fast with the actual scaling provided. Hashtag 6. The fight is not at all close when you look at the actual suites, scaling, and showing of Cap. If you equal that, then sure, it's close. But like with a lot of equal stats cases, it will be that. Everything you said for Chief will be bodied by Cap in natural form. He's way more stronger, experienced, and way better accolades than him, and it's not even close when we talk about actual situations they have been in. Hashtag 7. I again never made the argument that he is as strong as Iron Man, fully, Hulk, or any other. You're arguably either just ignoring what I actually said and presented, ignorant, or simply strawmanning my point. He can just do something to this and this person, or takes blows from this and this person, meaning he could somewhat actually hold weight in the convo of where those people scale at low end, suppress, or in situations. That is consistent with him, DP, BP, Namor, and anyone else. You generally have to be coping if you think that's not reasonable. Hashtag 8. You just proved you didn't watch the vid. I said almost everything that could be used by Chief in base equipment. I gave him the weapon. I gave him the possibility to have everything in his arsenal in the prep time discussion. But what I said, it wouldn't matter because of everything presented before. Cap has defeated people with greater arsenals, powers, skill, and even feats. So him having the cavalry weapons of the Punisher and Iron Man combined wouldn't change that truth. Please actually watch the vid before you speak. Hashtag 9, parentheses, conclusion, parentheses. You said things I didn't say. I made it clear why and how he would scale to that. None of that was a fallacy or quote-unquote wanking quote. That was concrete evidence for how and why. I have another video I referenced breaking down as why as well someone like Spider-Man would be that way. If you strongly disagree so much and actually want to debate into a discussion, I respectfully advise you to head to Discord and hit me up for a debate at RPKing324 at Discord. If you don't want to, cool, fine by me, but I'm not going to continue to argue over the comment section. You can argue with the wall if you like, because I promise I can prove to you in VC and anywhere else why what I said is consistent in facts. Otherwise, have a good day. Appreciate the watch and convo regardless. Okay. In response to a decently long one, I do see your points. As much as I disagree that it is a wash, I know that Cat would ultimately win 8 times out of 10. He's a very old character with a lot to back him up, but it also means he has highs and has really big lows. I try to shed light on the fact that my points will be considered valid if you want to look at feats alone in that context. Again, that's not what I did. All the context is there to be read. All of it's in not only tie of greater detail, explanation, and explore, and also configurement, I feel like, of a very consistent, definitive route. And he's just blatantly boxing, fighting, and standing against people that do these same things. I mean, the fact that the dude has all these other statements and accolades, and obviously they're comic panels, you can greater read into your own due diligence to not only digest the information, but greater deep dive, see the different multi-array of very much, I feel like, rightfully concise, really decisive greater haul of, I feel like, legacy of duking it out with people of a way higher margin. So that's not what that is. That's entirely, I feel like, ignorant and inconsiderate of the greater, I feel like, pool of information that was simply put provided. So no, I disagree with that. Anyway, besides that, I did watch the video by the way to the end. I found it enjoyable, although I personally think you should physically show more of the points you illustrate for both sides in the future. Having evidence of the comics, games, or movies will greatly showcase your arguments, the most without having to take your word as law, as unfortunately saying some doesn't exactly prove it. I mean, I feel like I showed enough that actually very much strongly rep my point, illustrated, demonstrated in every kiss of the way. I showed multiple different form of screenshots, demonstrations, made multiple points, named off multiple martial arts that are also name dropping, just things that he's done that to me crafts a very good, supple, understanding of what I'm trying to say. So if you can't gauge that, you can't gauge the very much simple understanding of that, then I don't know what more to say to you besides like you just don't have a good grasp of this stuff. You don't read the comics. You don't know about these characters, and you're just ignorant. Like, I made it clear. I don't see how that's just taking stuff at face value to you. I rewatched this video multiple times. I do think it's a very good video, and I feel like I've illustrated and demonstrated multiple times that he's very much on these levels, especially with his shield that is a lot more durable and resistant than him. He's resourceful, a military genius, combat dog like no other, and be duking it out, dabbling in multi different cases of bang for bang, pit for pit, bang for bang, hold off against very efficient, capable odds, and uses obviously his great martial arts, strategicalness, and efficient planning to put in the best sense of pressing and execution of the most very much sufficiently Duke of all time, any person that he gets into not only close quarters with, but really rockies his way through it. He's a dabble of all different rack of all trades of having that dog in him, and he solidifies will. And I feel like he does it a lot more high octane and higher esteem than Master Chief, because he faced people objectively higher than Master Chief. That's more consistent. What's more consistent? Cap taking on people that somewhat kind of scale to a low and suppressed Hulk, or a guy like Master Chief being building level? Yeah, exactly. And if you say that, Master Chief is more building level than Cap is these levels, you either have to be the most ignorant, or somehow you can somehow provide more powerful understanding of the area and effect and situation that Master Chief was in to be in a qualifications for building level more than him. I also can get this Master Chief right to building level, and it still wouldn't change anything by the scan provided. I can get Master Chief building level, and it wouldn't change the scaling I could get this man Captain America too. I can get this man Captain America to higher levels than anything Master Chief can. That's just facts. He got better feats, he got better scaling, he has a better verse, better cosmology. I mean, it's just facts. So he's just stronger. I don't see how that's impossible to understand. Anyway, so I know you did show some comic panels and lore bites from Halo, but just a little more can go a long way. I mean, it just doesn't really change what I said, and you just seeing it at face value, I think it's just you looking at it at face value. If I show you this stuff that goes over a lot more deeper stuff, and you don't read, you don't take in what it is, you don't do more than just, I guess, glare at it, that's just showing, no offense, your lack of, I feel like, media or power scan literacy. You just don't know the lot more in-depth graphical things that come with it. So I mean, I don't have much more to say besides that. But anyway, just some constructive advice to help your videos in the future. And as far as I know, I've maintained civility throughout this extent. My apologies for from the back and forth, which just says and good luck. I mean, I wouldn't say I got heat. I'm just more confused how you could say a little bit tired of, like, sorry for missing Young, because not only is it mixed like again very much late timing, but a man's been speaking the whole time without some water, what is being said, and I'm really taking a break. What I'm basically trying to grab full coherently speak is the fact that I'm just so very much confused and mildly just of like a concern for how you would say that this is this, when if you so-called will proclaim that you know about this character, then you can see that this is stuff is not only sensible and strong as cogent, substantial evidence for why he would be more rationally so this than that. And it just to me showcase that you just generally don't know what you're talking about. So saying the statement of, again, to reread, right, and as far as I know, it maintains ability throughout the 16. My apologies, we got a bit heated from the back and forth. It's just you blatantly know what you're talking about. I'm not pressed or having any sense of animosity. Don't attack this guy or anything. Is you put yourself, I feel like, in a very deliberately kind of like just most dummy, undesensable, like, type of like mindset that a lot of niggas would try to rationalize in speaking about in some other characters in fiction, not just with comic book characters, and try to base it down to this guy doesn't seem like he could do this. This guy doesn't seem like he has rationale to do this, or he doesn't go about, I guess, doing this more consistently. It seems like at face value, when you actually do greater reading and you take in this stuff, and I show you these characters doing this, and I show you scales of these people, I showed you multiple different images that illustrate that he's followed people that fight these people. A lot of this kind of mixed base knowledge. I just think that's more of a you problem. You just have a lack of knowledge. You generally don't know what you're talking about. And again, it just shows to me that you very much ridiculously do not have any type of understanding about this stuff. You don't read comic books respectfully. And if you try to stamp all this shit as just whatever whoppy-doo case of scaling, it's the weirdest slate of mental I've ever seen in a case of this of the way. That is just the most, to me, ridiculous assessment of this entire video and the scaling that removes any sense of possibly taking you seriously in the grand scope. But again, to keep reading, number one, you really took 2 days to respond to this, question mark, parentheses, JK, parentheses. Number two, I showed as much that would be needed, and I agree I could show more, but the fact is that those showings are what matter and are consistent. I also don't have footage of the Halo games on standby and copyright reasons for why I don't show MCU stuff. I just don't show feeds. No context. These fees for capping is low cheap for just deliberate showings. You have to actually prove they're not good showings. The context is all there to be seen, so it's arguably just disingenuous to say. Number three, I didn't just say something and not provide points. I made a clear distinction of how and why Cap, Spidey, Wolverine, and others are consistent in the vid. The comment section, like any other vid, I give you the full showing. I give you the scans at face value and context. I got statements showing across a consistent lineup and other stuff to fully sum my points. I don't see how it's just taking my words at face value or just word of law to you. I also made it multiple times clear you can debate me and I can give more points there, but you refuse to do that, it seems. Number four, I get that you're saying I could do more and all that, which is fine from a constructive criticism point, but it doesn't invalidate what I said or say. Not necessarily saying you're saying that, but just a point. It's just simply a creative difference. You also can't say that and not actually bring up an argument, no offense. Number five, parentheses, conclusion, parentheses. I'm not heated. You just don't really have a grasp of what you're saying and not what the change from what the point is, which is cool, but kind of proves that you do, in fact, don't know what you're talking about when it comes to Cap or Marvel Comics as a whole. But again, thanks, I guess, for the convo and watch. Hope you have a safe and joyous day. Here's the facts. No deep-seated hatred, no animosity. I got no qualm against the man, but you just got a very dumb record of further argumentation to speak what you're saying. It's not rational, it's not concrete or congruent in any sense of actual taking of things, in actual deeper light. But you got this guy with an Umar profile picture at Mr. Himothy-N7K. It's not even remotely close. It's facts. Then my video being why Thorford's beside is what you think. The guy that I referenced being at Peace2033. Thank you for the shout out, bro. And I agree Poseidon is underrated. Then on my video, if I said none of his next history is completely one-sided. This guy at Nolans, this legendary pool. This guy out Horsted, about to fucking turn into a frog. Red Sun. Then at Cyber_Templar 1911. Parentheses, insert Metal Gear Rising reference here. Then this guy, very funny, comment of my comment being at MasterGamer-UL8PD, so you didn't have to compare it to a BMW. Then this guy on my Fakes official audio video, right, says, and I'm in DC. Can you put this song on Spotify, please? And I said I have a Spotify account, but I can change that. If you guys really want me to go about great upload my music on the Spotify, I can see, but actually pushing to do that. I just don't do that because I'm not a full-fledged artist, and I don't know if that's really my route, and pushing my audience, to a different other site that also has a chance to possibly go wrong, as well to a lot more higher boatload of people, so because I let my music kind of be on a down low, and I think YouTube is just a lot more simple. But again, if you want me to do that, let me know. But pushing past that, my next video being why Pilfer is a target is kind of interesting. Is by a great deal of people pretty busting, so pick that as well. But with this guy being at Rojan2222, great video, keep it up. Then at Shadow Spooky 25, that's such a random matchup. Yep, so good. Then this guy, which is just a bunch of mixed letters and mixed Russian. I even try to actually translate this into ChatGPT. It's just letters. This man lost his sanity 3 years ago. Imagine not watching the vid to understand the concept. because I generally think this like some troll that I've seen before trying to talk shit. And then it says, insane man rambling, no argument I see, but then per person on the case again, my fakes versus official audio versus video at Silly_Billy_2000. This is Flames, bro. Can we get the lyrics for it? Also, you got Spotify. I'll drop a follow. I could drop lyrics one for the song section as well. No, I don't. Unfortunately, I'm not really a true artist for real. Then it says you should be, bro. If you got some good quality shit, you can make some proper songs, I think. I appreciate that, but it's a mixed thing if everyone do that. But then, in my case of ranking all Outer Rings Pantheon from being the strongest video, greatest tier list I made in a minute, right? Go check that out. Really love the title and the whole thing. Ranking all Outer Rings Pantheon from being strongest is always cool. At Internet, no, this is the kind of content I'm here for, right? That, because not only is that, something I'm always down to do. At Delatarki, being Clancy Brown / God of War Hades is powerful as fuck. That's true. I reckon every Hades will make the strongest video. Then there's a bunch of shit way back that I'm not going to get into. That's it for all comments of recent form, right? So we're going to go ahead and pop back to Godsking Champion. I want to go and say that when it comes to any different videos I have in mind to go and put out, I have a tier list video that I plan to go ahead and put out that involves coming back to the Elden Ring tier list of a very unique form. It's going to be interesting to go about actually doing that vid in question, so hope you guys will be down for that. But what I am also going to do is do a little bit of editing, and I'm going to go ahead and sign off. So obviously I edit sometimes from the mix, YouTube Studio, what is being said, and obviously it has one back and P on the YouTube Studio in a minute. I appreciate again all the mixed viewage and all that shit, right? There's a lot of shit to go ahead and re-dabble into, as being said. You guys always see the case of next vid coming into play, but it's some more rival stuff, right? And I appreciate all for watching. So I usually go about putting into the mix of tags, but that you do that case, and then that's like wild form, right? But yeah. Much good for the case of one of the tags. Think must be like mix more rivals ranks, but I think it's solid because it's thumbnail. So if you ever have this much of a fast as a game, solid title. Don't have this much of a fantastic game. Possibly have this man by Grandma said. Yeah, I can peek actually what's in the thumbnail because I feel it's a good representation. I'm feeling because do pop down to great represent my whole thing, right? So that possibly might pull people in. It's better to understand why I feel the way I feel. Again. Well, I do not use it for mix tag for video editing. Not only does it give a lot of different curiosity to mix what people like, significantly pulls people into my video, different outskirts, if you know the algorithm, all different crossroads of trying to get it, you know what I'm saying, trying to grind. Very interesting to do, some case of shit like that. But yeah, if you guys have enjoyed this vid, again, I appreciate y'all for 50k views all around for the channel. Wouldn't be here without y'all. All glory to God, like I said. It's getting very late, almost 7 p.m. right now. Tomorrow's Thursday. Picking into Gen V Season 2. Busting so far. Don't got much more to say in this instance. So, yeah. I'm gonna go ahead and finish this up with this being said. Pause there. Put Rose rant, this kind of thing. But some shit like that. Fun things. We're doing this in my own terms. I just hope you guys have enjoyed. I can't wait to go see you guys in the next one. Peace and mind, man. Love y'all.